I know one.
I don't know any Jeremys. I would like to know Jeremys.
You're so fat, Ted. You literally aren't even able to get on the couch. Okay, over there.
So, what were your thoughts on?
God damn it!
Sorry, I did. I couldn't think of a smooth transition because you started eating and I was talking.
Yeah, good idea. Let me start eating and then start a podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Shirts off, season 3, episode 25.
Are you sure about that?
Boys, yes.
I don't know if you've been right one time this season.
No, I've been right. I there was a time where I was messing up, and that time has passed. And, this too shall pass. So will this pass at the time of me being right. But that's not today.
You're going to have to vamp for like 35 more seconds.
I will vamp. Dude. Alright, so I've gotten deep into the lore of Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh my God.
Like, so much more so than I ever thought I would. But the lore's deep, man. And, the best part of the lore is that it contradicts itself a lot. Just because it's a long-running sitcom on, a kid's television show that up until recently I hadn't thought about in probably, at least 10 years. Except for, when I would see Selena Gomez. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's that bitch from Wizard of Waverly Place.
That's not how you see her.
Dude, that's literally the first thing that comes to mind is Alex Russo.
That is wild.
Well,
also, I'm the worst person to talk to because that was one of the only shows that I did not watch.
No, but you have to understand, that was my introduction to her. That and her first couple of guest appearances on other shows. But Alex Russo's the one that stuck.
You know what's crazy?
What?
The craziest thing about those old shows and looking back on them is that we never watched them in order.
Yeah, well, they weren't released in order.
That's what well, they were released in order. They just weren't released on a day in order on TV, the schedule for the day.
What do you mean?
Wasn't today we're gonna watch season 3 episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Wizards of Waverly Place. It was what are the episodes that people watch the most and that people enjoy the most often without being part of the overarching story.
Yeah.
Avatar, famously, the least favorite episode of most people and kind of arguably the worst episode in the show is the Great Divide, the big Grand Canyon episode wannabe thing.
I think we're all initiated here.
Yeah.
Except for some of our listeners, probably.
Yes, but what I mean is that the reason that episode was so bad was not only because it was so bad, it had almost nothing to do with the overarching story of Avatar. Most of Avatar, there is the through line, goal of Aang has to learn all the elements, beat the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
And that sticks through pretty good in almost every episode of the show. Yeah. It is somewhat mentioned, the goal, or a driving point of the goal in every episode. You're always looking forward to that. You're always being pushed towards that. Yeah. It's not like Friends where there's a Phoebe Chandler episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not Wizards of Waverly Place where it's there's a dad and the daughter episode. Always almost always the main cast is going towards a goal that leads to that thing. The Great Divide was the most shown episode on TV because of Avatar.
Is that why it's hated?
That's not why it's hated. It's hated just because it isn't as good as the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But it's extra hated because it's the most shown episode on TV because you didn't have to have seen anything before or after it to understand the episode.
Yeah.
It's a bottle episode.
Yeah.
The story that takes place in that episode is on its own in the Avatar storyline. There's not a lot of episodes like it.
It's funny you say that about the Friends thing, compare that, because I would venture to say that Wizards of Waverly Place is probably the bridge between those two. Because do you know anything about the show?
Wizards, I watched it, but I didn't care.
So
I didn't
the point of the show is it's 3 kids. They have wizard powers, right?
I think my problem with Wizards of Waverly Place was that it wasn't Harry Potter. I was this is
it's fun with the idea, though.
I know.
It has a lot of fun with
it was
the idea.
the Goodwill version of Harry Potter to me.
Listen, man, there can only be one wizard in the family, though. So, at the end of their training, they have to, battle it out.
Yeah.
So, the show is loosely about, their journey to the big wizard competition.
Yeah.
And, how that will test their bond as a family. And then there's also, the sitcom aspect of it that's we're going to cut up with this today. And Max is doing something silly over here. And, X, Y, and Z happens. But
that's such a ridiculous
that through line's still there. Though.
See, that idea is such a good idea, and to waste it on a sitcom wizard show.
I think it's just good enough for that show. I
like that idea in like a rated R. Like I want like a fucking grimy, like cutthroat, like an Italian. I want like an Irish Catholic family who only one kid gets to be the wizard. Like, could you imagine 11 fucking Irish kids?
They're Italian Hispanic.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's not the same.
No,
that's not the Catholic Irish. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like 20 kids. I mean, a lot of children.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that those parameters would work.
It's
what are you
like
looking at, bro? This cat is losing it today.
It's like poetry. It rhymes because it's just like the dad.
Oh,
and his
stop
family.
saying poetry rhymes, George. It's not. It's not fun.
It is though. They literally are like, oh, Alex, you're just like your aunt, and now they're doing that with the new show
because their aunt was the one that stayed a wizard.
No,
right?
no.
Which one stayed?
The one that's like the Max stand-in
Yeah.
is like the one that stayed the wizard.
Okay.
The Justin stand-in was their dad.
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
don't know. I don't remember any of the names. I barely remember seeing the
So the dad is like the smart one, and Justin's like the older brother that's the smart one that's
Okay.
like studied for this whole life. Like the dad won the competition in the war and just gave up his powers because he really wanted to marry their mom. And mortals and wizards can't get married and keep their powers.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
That's still dumb to me.
I told you the lore in this show is like got layers.
It's got layers, sure. Everything has layers. It's just not. It's whether or not those layers are good enough. Yeah. Wizards of Waverly Place is one of those things that if it was pitched 15 years later, it might have been one of the best shows on TV. You know what I mean? Because they would have had the budget and the like wherewithal to make the show they want to make, not make the Disney show.
Yeah, it's still the best show.
The thing is that what?
It's still the best show on TV. It's better than Andor.
That's silly.
It's
you haven't
better,
even seen Andor yet.
It's better than
You haven't
Breaking
even caught up
Bad.
on
It's
Andor.
better than Game of Thrones.
I was talking to a friend of mine who used to deal poker, and he is a big Star Wars fan, and he's been watching a lot of the like animated shows with his kid because his kid's like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
and so like he's been able to really like re-enjoy Star
bet
Wars
that's
as
so
an
fun.
and he's like 42 or 43,
Yeah.
and so he's like, dude,
he
I
had that kid at like he was really old when he had that kid.
30. It's not that old. That's kind of the going rate right now. It's like more common to have a kid like in your 30s than it is in your 20s.
Yeah,
like way more people our age are like waiting to have children. What was that?
No, I saw Caitlin text me.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna see what she said, but it went away, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
Imagine being a big fan of Star Wars, but never really thinking the shows are cool, and then like because you have a kid, you sit and watch and realize that the shows are not only cool, they're like the best part of the story. And then he told me that he watched the first episode of Andor when it came out, and was like, "This is lame. I'm not gonna watch this." First of all, I don't know how the fuck he was able to do that. And I talked to him on the phone. I said, "Dude, it's literally better. It's like it's Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. Like but it's Star Wars. It's the same like quality level of a show. You gotta watch it." And he was like, "Okay, high praise. I'll give it a shot."
I think that I would have really enjoyed. Well, no, I can't say that. I never went through a phase where I'm not gonna watch this as animated because I've always enjoyed animated stuff anyway. So I was like, another animated thing that's also Star Wars, I'm about to check this out. So I've never had that feeling as a fan of like, oh, there's other content that I could have been watching this whole time.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and I've got a whole new world to experience.
My thing has become, like, ease of access.
Oh, because of Disney Plus?
Well, just because of streaming in general.
Yeah.
For me to go watch a film in theaters, I have to go to, like, a legitimate theater. I have to go 30 minutes away. Because the theater here in town's terrible. And the audio quality is not as good. The screen is not as bright. Like, it's literally just a lesser experience. So, like, I'd rather wait a month for it to go to streaming than I would sit and watch it here in our town. If we lived 10 minutes closer, I would go see every single movie that comes out in theaters. Like, I would see every movie. If the Redstone Cinema was as close as the Crown Cinema is, it's like all I would do in my free time is watch movies, like as they come out. You know. I really hate that I missed Sinners in IMAX.
Oh, is it done? Is it not? No,
IMAX. Their releases only last like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they go to normal theater screens. I've still not seen it. I need to go see it.
I haven't seen it either. I hear amazing things about it.
Apparently, it's like one of the greatest movies.
I'm telling you, look, man. Caitlin works all day this Sunday.
Yeah, this married life's just killing you.
What we should do is let's do a double
Creighton's
feature.
not married, but he's basically married.
We'll sneak into the theater, right?
No. How
And
about
we'll
we just pay for it?
We'll pay for
There's
one
no-
of them, and then we'll go sneak and see the other one.
Right. We could just pay for both of them like grown-ups.
That's lame.
Look, I'm all for stealing. I'm all for stealing from faceless corporations like Walmart. I've probably stolen so many Pokemon. Like I don't know what the number is, but I'm definitely technically supposed to be a felon based on how many Pokemon cards I've stolen over the decades. But that's a faceless corporation, and they're evil, and I hate them. I'm not doing that to the movies. The movies, I'm passionate about the movies.
Hear me out.
Okay.
You seduced the manager of the movies to get us tickets.
How about we just buy that? They're not expensive.
That's
It's
listen.
like $11 to go see a standard screening of a movie now.
That's too easy.
No, it's not easy. It's
need
normal.
you to seduce the manager.
We're not doing that. The manager's
then
an
get
old
us
man.
free
First
tickets.
of all, I'm not doing that.
That's even more. That's better
Nope,
for
nope,
you.
No, it's
you know?
not. It's not better for me. What do you
I
mean?
thought you were into old men.
No, I'm not. No, I'm.
Well, he's into young
ladies.
boys. You know,
No, that's.
you kind of could pass for a young boy.
No, why do you think that? First of all, that old man is married, and his wife works there half the time with him. They are
Wait.
wonderful.
What movie theater are we talking?
Redstone.
Oh, really? That dude owns
The
it?
dude, he doesn't own it, but he works there. He's retired. He had a big career. He has plenty of money, and he goes and works at Redstone because he likes to, because it's fun. And you're bleeding.
Oh, I'm bleeding?
Your leg's
Oh,
bleeding.
damn. That's all right.
Is that
That's
Ted?
all right.
Did Ted scratch you?
Nah, I probably picked, I was scratching my legs earlier.
Yeah, stop scratching, dude.
I'm just
what
an
did I
itchy-
tell you?
I'm an
Look,
itchy
it's
fella.
dripping, dude. Jesus Christ. Wipe that up. You're disgusting.
Clean that up.
Make-A-Wish.
All right. You gotta put pressure on the wound. Anyways.
Right. Wound.
Come here, look at this.
So I've been very lucky to basically know nothing about centers. Bless you.
Thank you. I have been as well. I really don't know much about it. I know I think it's like vampires,
Yes,
and that's about it.
but more. I do know
Demons?
that it's more than that. No, I mean, there's more to the story. It's not just like vampire movie. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I do know kind of what it is. I just don't know what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want to say any more than that, though. I think going into it totally blind is going to be better for
the
you.
best one.
Yeah.
For both of us. 'Cause
Yeah.
You don't know anything.
I don't know anything about the main story. I
Damn
know.
it,
I know.
Charlie. How much do you know?
I know. I know what some of the big themes are, but I don't know how they get implemented in any capacity. Oh, excuse me. But we'll see. It's one of those. It's just one of those things where you find out. I'm not gonna. I don't want to. It's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. It's gonna be unbelievable.
His sounds like a Coogler movie. I said it sounds like a Coogler movie. You get it because I'm doing a pun with cool and Coogler.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's
That
good.
was pretty bad.
That's
That
solid
was terrible.
content.
It was awful content.
That's really good content. We're gonna put
Anyone
that on
who
the
was
Patreon.
watching is everything after 12 minutes and 30 seconds is just not, they're going to watch the first 12 minutes of this podcast and just stop. They're like, this is stupid. Why am I wasting my time with these idiots?
I've been busy. I'm in the middle of buying a house.
Yeah.
I bought a car.
God, you're so rich.
I have no money. I don't know who let me buy these things. I didn't even have any money to begin with. I don't have any money now. I've not had any money during this whole process. So it's kind of wild that people just give you things and then be like, all right, here's a bill a monthly for it.
Yeah. And then you get to have a house.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild?
No, I think that it's so weird because based on a made up number that they just pull from space,
Yeah.
it figures out what your payment for that thing is going to be, and that's crazy to me.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Absolutely wild.
What happened? We were in caves drawing with shits and with
God,
blood.
sometimes I wish you did edibles. These little moments like that of I can't believe we got from point A to point B. It really I'm not, look, this is not me being the kooky guy, but I understand where the crazy people that do hallucinogenics and talk about doing mushrooms and how it changes your life.
Yeah.
I haven't done mushrooms yet, but I get it just off doing edibles.
Yeah.
I'll do a 3 milligram edible gummy. And I'll sit awake at night by myself in the dark and just be I'll see the universe. You get it. You start seeing how these giant leaps in advancement happen, and you're no wonder we are all so frazzled right now. We got way too much of a technological jump, at one moment with cell phones and the internet than we were ready for. Like, going from... There's a really great book called Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. And in that book, it's like the early 80s, and the internet has just spawned. Like, he has gotten a grasp of the internet, and he has just figured out that, like, oh, the internet is going to be the biggest thing that's ever happened to humanity. And he's calling that out. What are you looking at? You're not listening to what I'm saying.
Oh, Sydney left, but... Oh, okay, Kevin's out there. I was about to say they left their front door open. For those of you that don't know, I can see straight through to other people's houses that I know. And they just, they do shit all the time. And I'm always spying on them. I'm always looking. Anyways, go ahead.
What did you get? What have you heard? Because I feel like you didn't hear anything I said.
No, you said you were reading this book.
Yes.
And he wrote it in the 80s. And he was talking about how, like...
So in the 80s, he's writing this book about the internet because the internet has just shown up.
And already he's like, this is
already
wild.
He's like, this is about to be the biggest thing that's ever happened to humanity. And he likens it to when we came up with the printing press. Because before the printing press, 1% of 1% of 1% of the population even knew how to read, let alone had any books.
Yeah.
Because, it was your preacher had a Bible, and your preacher was like the most learned man in the neighborhood. He had to. And everyone went to church to hear him read the Bible. Mm. And then you would have conversations about what you heard, and that's what Christianity was. Like, that's what religion, how it was taught, how it was spread. You had, like, the really smart people telling you what was written down by the super smart people that could, like, even write in the forget about reading. These motherfuckers were writing
and were able to distribute it.
The
distributing part is even crazy.
So the printing press came along, and it went from 1% of 1% of the population, or whatever the really tiny number of the population who could read was, to now, like, 70% of the inside of, like, a decade, most people could read. And most people were buying books, and books were TV. Books were the entertainment element. Like, Mark Twain was the most famous guy in the world. Yeah. Like, these first early authors were... Huckleberry Finn was... that was fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't think we can talk about Huckleberry Finn.
But those stories were, like, the biggest thing in the world. And it was the printing press. The printing press, like, skyrocketed education and, like, intelligence as a concept to unfathomable ideas in terms of what the population was and how many people of that population were intelligent. Like, that number just exploded. People were writing everything down. Little Women is a great example of that.
I love Little Women.
You look at Little Women and, like, what's that story? It's a story of as books are exploding and as writing is becoming this big thing, a woman wants to be mixed into the game, right? It's this unbelievable... And it's an unbelievable... I got a 1984 print of Little Women at Goodwill the other day for $1, and it's like a hardback, nice copy, and it has a sleeve on the inside that's explaining what Little Women is, like as a page holder. Yeah, like not really a bookmark, but like a whole little mini pamphlet. A one page. Anyway, it was a really cool find. I'm excited I got it. Yeah. All that's to say, Amusing Ourselves to Death. He's talking about how the internet, for what that boom in intelligence was with the printing press, the internet's gonna, like, to an exponential level we can't even calculate. It has made everyone hyper intelligent, and the problem with that is when everyone becomes hyper intelligent, everyone becomes retarded. Everyone has gotten really dumb all of a sudden because of how much access to information they have. Mm-hmm. It used to be no one could read, and you heard the smart stuff by the smart guy, and you just did that. Now that everyone can read, they read everything, and they consider what they're reading to be truth. And the problem is everyone can write now. So the smart people aren't the ones writing everything down. Mm-hmm. And so we're at this weird, like, stalemate position where, like, you can find the smart stuff, but you have to know where you're looking, you have to know who's writing it, and you have to...
You have to use your sources.
You have to review... Well, you have to review sources, but you also have to have... There's no peer-reviewed studies for half of this shit anymore. Like, you could go on a website that is not accredited with anything, but it could be called, accredited smart person website, and you could write a fucking paper on how Darth Maul and his story in Star Wars is the second coming of Jesus. Yeah. And, like, people will read that and be like, dude, you see this? Look what this says. This is truth because it's written down. Yeah. People think that way. I know there's a person in my life who I love very much. I'm not going to say their name or if it's a boy or a girl.
Can I guess?
No. Oh. You can guess. I'm just going to say no, whether you're right or not.
Okay.
This person believes anything you tell them. Anything you tell this person, they just are like, well, they said that. Well,
Why are
he
you
said that.
talking
Well,
about
she
me
said
like
that.
this?
Not, shut up. They will say, like, literally, it'll be like, I'll say, you can't hang out with that person. They keep doing this to you. They keep lying to you. They keep tricking you. They've stolen money from you. And they're like, well, yeah, but they said this. And I'm like, of course they said that. They're lying. What are they going to do? Tell you the truth? And they're like, but they said. And I'm like, how is that? How are you not getting this? How's this not getting through to you? And it's hard to... That's very abstract, that statement, the way I said it. I apologize for
I get what
how
you're saying, though.
Yes.
I wish I knew who you were talking
I know.
about.
I just can't tell you.
Yeah.
And never mind. I tried to mouth it to Creighton. He didn't get it.
I missed it. I was paying attention to it.
Yes, there you go. So, not with everyone, but yeah. You get it. And specifically,
so funny.
Specifically, people that person used to live with would take a lot of advantage of that person.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh.
and you know who I'm talking about
Yeah.
now. And I'm like, it's because that person is lying, and then that person who I'm talking about would say, but they said this, and I'm like, person, how do you not understand what's happening? And like, it's just people are like that. There are people that just they take everything you tell them at face value. And like, there are times where I'm like, how does anybody fall for this? Or how does anybody fall for that? And I'm like, oh, I guess, and this is the really shitty way of, the perspective makes it sound very like elitist, but I'm like, no one can think that way, right? No one's that stupid. And then I realize, like, wow, if that person who I respect and love a lot in my life, like, there are people who just fall for shit. That's what they do. There are people that are out there who fall for stuff. They just believe everything.
And look, that happens.
I'm not gonna pretend. We do it.
We do it too. Yeah.
We do it.
There was something that
less.
almost got me the other day. I saw it on Facebook. It was like this thing is like sunburn competition in Florida.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know,
Creighton, come on. You were like, I could own that competition.
Listen. I was like, for a second, I was like, listen. I know that this sounds ridiculous, but it's not the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And then I got to looking at and the image of it. I scrolled past it and skimmed the title, and I went back and was reading it. And then I was looking at some of the comments to see if this was real. And then everybody was like, the picture's AI. The picture's AI. It's fake, you know.
Creighton,
like,
you couldn't have thought this was real, Creighton. There's no way you thought that was real.
They almost got me.
There wasn't a second. They almost got you. They did. You had to check because they got you. That's you being got. You were had.
I checked. I didn't just come on the podcast like, hey, guess what I found out?
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point.
So, you know, I'll count that as an almost.
Here, man, take some dimes. There you go.
20 cents.
Yep, that will buy literally nothing in this
But,
country.
and to be fair, like, sunburn competition isn't exactly like the craziest thing you would hear coming out of Florida.
Yeah. No, I mean, sure.
I've heard crazier things.
See, and that's a systemic... that's a systemic symptom of the issues of our day.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, that is a systemic symptom of the issues of our day, which is the idea that just because it's happening in Florida, we would believe that there's a sun burning competition. It's a sign of how dumb we've gotten. And how dumb, specifically in this country, we've gotten. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people lately about. I've been trying to figure this all out, right? I've been trying to figure out what all the problems are. Hold on, let me. This is some. Shit I've been trying to. I haven't put it anywhere, so I need to say it real quick. Don't interrupt, please. Okay. Just remember what you're going to say.
Okay. All right. I have things to say about chicken.
Okay, I'll remember that. When it comes down to it, all the big issues, all of them. I mean, every single one of them.
Everyone.
Whether it's like pick a divisive topic, pick it.
Slavery.
Okay, slavery, abortion, Israel versus Palestine, all these things.
Nazis.
What?
Nazis.
Sure, all that. The big ticket issues that each side of whatever this argument is, the big arguing points. If you have a reasonable person in the room, there's almost always a common ground you can find. The problem is tone, because of texting, that is no longer like perceivable because it's text and you can't see tone through text. Yeah. And people who are not willing to budge. You have to be able to budge. You can't assume you are definitively, factually the only correct person in the world with your like idea. Used to be, we had conversations and we figured these things out. The problem, more than anything else, in my opinion, is education overall. Like, I think of all these issues, the number one issue now is that education's we can't read. Yeah. I talked to my dad about this today. He was reminding me, he told me today that when I was in the 6th grade, I won a Principal's Choice Award at Buford Middle School. I forgot that happened. I had no clue that I did that. And he was like, "What? I brag on you all the time for that." I'm like, I don't know.
For that?
For that? Well, like one person in the school. It's not even like a person every grade. It's like one person in the whole school gets it. I got it because, from what I can remember, when I moved to Buford, the way that Buford works is when you start kindergarten, short of people moving away, you're in the same class until you graduate high school. Like the same 30 kids.
Yeah, so Buford, for the uninitiated, is their schools are pretty much all right there next to each other.
Yeah,
like you
it's
can walk
Buford
from one to
Elementary,
the other.
Middle, and High School are all in the same block.
Yeah.
And you start those schools in kindergarten, and you're in the same 30 to 40 person class all the way
short
to
of
senior
you
year.
moving to someplace like AJ, which is where they put the people there doing special studies in athletics or arts or whatever.
Yeah, so it's because Buford's a small town, and it's to build a community. They keep you in the same grade so that you are in the understanding of, for the next decade, these people are like my family. Like, I went to school with these kids; they've become like my family.
Yeah,
and that's what it was. And I started there in the smack dab in the middle of the curriculum and in the middle of their lifetime as students.
Yeah.
And I fit in. I had more friends in Buford Middle School for the not even a whole year that I went there than I did for the rest of middle and high school, finishing out in South and in Lancaster. I had more friends in Buford that I ended up continuing being friends with than I did in high school until after I graduated. And I won a Principal's Choice Award for whatever reason because of that. I read a bunch of books. I became friends with a lot of people. They brought me right in their little family. And that was cool.
Yeah, you were a philosopher among children.
Philosopher among children. I transitioned into that environment very easily and very comfortably. But the problem with that is the reason I was doing so much better is because schooling in this area is just way behind in other places. When I went to elementary school in Lake Murray, South Carolina. Lake Murray Elementary School is where I went to elementary school. I was a failure there. I was D's. C, D was a good year for me. I did terribly at that elementary school. But it was in elementary school. I learned how to read and write. I was able to do, but I was an undiagnosed ADHD, probably autistic kid. And it was hard for me to pay attention. I got held back in the 1st grade. All these things happened. I moved to Buford. And when I tell you that for all of middle school and the first 2 years of high school, I was just relearning what I learned in elementary school in Lake Murray. I was learning legit shit as a little kid, and then just coasting through middle school and high school, and then finally the last 2 years of high school, shit started to get a little challenging again. By then I was excited. I was oh, new shit! I get to learn new stuff now, and so I kind of excelled there as well because I was hungry for it. And then I became an adult, and everything here is stupid. Everyone's stupid. None of the jobs require anything, and so life was easy. But there was no challenge, and so I went and did other shit. I traveled and I did all these things, but all that is a systemic issue with education. Education there's so many places in this country because there's no way we're the only one. Yeah. I've met too many dumb people all over this country for it not to be everywhere. We are and the big issue is passing people. They want to pass everybody because of social issues. They don't want anybody to fail. Nobody can feel like they did a bad job. There's participation trophies in education, and that's ridiculous. It used to be the smartest people go to the smart schools. Now it's the richest people go to the smart schools. That's not okay. No. That's not how that's supposed to work. And all of these all of these issues bracket and fall underneath improper education. People who can't understand that abortion is should be what's the word pro-choice. I think it should be pro-choice, but I understand situations where it shouldn't be. And I think that if you want to be pro-life, you need to still understand that there are situations where you shouldn't be. The people that are always pro-life or always pro-choice,
always one or the other,
are crazy to me. I'm nothing is black and white, nothing is binary. There's nuance in all of these scenarios. There are crazy situations where one thing needs to happen whether you like it or not. Israel-Palestine. everyone really wants to put Israel is evil or Palestine is evil in one box or the other. They don't want to accept that maybe both sides are kind of fucked and do terrible things, and we're putting the like ideas and the decisions of 1% of each of those people that they're making, and we like blanket, mask that over an entire group and an entire religion.
We just need to sit them down and put them in timeout.
Okay, great. but what I'm saying is, the problem is nobody wants to give anybody the benefit of the doubt to start off in a conversation. Everyone wants to bracket you. I've had so many conversations with people that the conversation started off with me going, well, that's fucking gay, as like the jokey way that we have said that, not knowing that I have,
destroyed that person emotionally.
Well, no, I'm saying, no, they look at you because you said that's gay as if it's a bad thing, and they put you as like you're a homophobe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying whenever you say that.
Yeah.
They take it as an attack on.
Oh, you're saying that destroyed them emotionally?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't destroy them
I don't
emotionally.
mean like you're breaking them. Like I was saying,
it just
I'm
made
saying
them,
like you offended them in a way that it destroys.
Yeah,
them.
they can't see a version of you saying that and you being a good person in the same reality.
Yeah.
Like there have been people. Tim Dillon just did an interview with CNN. Mm-hmm. Have you seen it yet?
No.
It's unfucking believable.
Is it
This
good?
girl interviews him, and here's the thing: I really think that this girl, she seems like a reasonable person, who is just also one of these people. She's reasonable, but she also first puts you in a box.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get you out of that box, I think. That's the problem with her.
Like she's making
watched,
an assumption about
sure,
who you are.
She's watched Tim Dillon show a lot, and I think because of an overabundance and an oversaturation of seeing him talk and understanding that, oh, he's saying both sides all the time, he's joking. This is a comedy. She sees that and she thinks, I can relate to Tim. I can have him on. I can talk. And she does. And he goes on, and like a bunch of times she says these things where like, but you don't think this? And he's like, no, I don't think that Elon Musk is a functional Nazi. No, do you? Do you really think it? Do you think he did a thing to troll, or that he did a thing that may have looked one way? But do you think that him doing that and then not having a history of, endorsing the Third Reich, do you really think? Are you telling me? He says this. He's like, are you telling me that you think he's a Nazi? Who do you think's a Nazi that's in like political power for real in America? And like, it's one thing to say they did a thing, or that they're attributing, or that they're being comparative to something that the Nazis may have done. Look, we can grasp straws and like make comparisons all we want. Yeah. Calling them a Nazi is saying like that's Hitler.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No.
And in this interview, I'll say he does a piece on his show after, like diagnosing, like talking about the interview he did, and he said, listen, to everybody, I had friends call me and defame this poor woman and tell me that she's crazy, and you guys are missing the whole point of the interview. We have to have these conversations because clearly she just didn't know a lot of stuff that she was having opinions about.
See, that's why.
And he said, "I'm sorry, this is all coming out, and I want to say it fast before I lose it." Tim Dillon is one of the most. He's such a fucking genius, and he's a genius because he will tell you he's not a genius. He's trying to let everyone understand he's not trying to be a political pundit. He's not trying to be the guy that you get your news from. He's making fun of it. And the problem with that is more people want to make fun of shit now than they want to like hear the real stuff. And they're starting to attribute the funny version of what is happening as reality. And he's trying to help us all understand because she thinks a lot of the stuff she said is real. And she had nothing to go off of once he brought up like even the slightest receipt of anything she talked about. Anybody listening, it's going to be impossible for me to notate this properly. Watch the Tim Dillon interview. It is crazy. Like on either side, whether you're like super conservative or super liberal, either like Tim breaks down the sides very well while trying to explain to this very liberal girl like what is going on and why people think the things they're thinking and why people are kind of seeing the ideas that are happening. And more than anything, I think it is showing just how much of an echo chamber she's locked into. I watch the Tim Dillons of the world. I watch these comedians. And I watch these liberals, too. I watch these people on the left. And some of them are comedians. There's both. The comedians can be on both sides. This is the big problem with a lot of the people today is they don't think any comedians are liberal when you've got the Sarah Silvermans and the Whitney Cummings and the Chelsea Handlers and the fucking Bill Burrs of the world who are like super duper left. and like not crazy. They can still be super liberal and not crazy. And this girl just doesn't see that. And she like, but you can see that she kind of wants to, but she's also she's talking to Tim like he's a dummy. And by the end of the interview, I think she feels really dumb. And like but she's still carrying the energy like she thinks he is. And it's a really good example of how out of touch I think the people at the head of the Democrats and of the liberal people in the world are right now. Like, I think more than anything, they're just a little out of touch. And that's not to say that conservatives aren't either. I totally think that. I'm not claiming to be one or the other. If you like locked me into a box, I probably look more conservative than anything else based on what I think. But I think a lot of liberal shit. I think very liberally of my friends, of a lot of people. Like, I think socially being liberal is way more important than being conservative. And then fiscally, I think it's very important to be conservative. You can think one thing and still think the other thing. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be locked into a box, and that's this girl and a lot of liberals more than conservatives. I will stand on that hill. Is they don't think that way. They are really into binary. They want, which is hilarious, which is very hypocritical. But they very much want to lock you in a box rather than accept that like you can be this nuanced person with nuanced ideas.
That's why I like bringing Alejandro on, because he's on the liberal side, but like he's very, how do I put it?
Reasonable.
Yeah,
he's thoughtful.
Very reasonable. He's very thoughtful. I ran into him actually at the protests the other day. Like, I wasn't just at a protest, but like I called him to see about when we were gonna have him on again, because we have a lot of issues with the last episode he did. Just technical issues, not necessarily anything he said. Just like it's literally our end of the way we record these and how it's messed up.
Yeah.
But I was trying to figure out when we're gonna have him on again. He's been at the protests. We kind of talked about that. We're gonna have him on soon again to talk about those protests, and hopefully he'll be up before this is. But to expand on your point, I think that there's a lot of that we're aware of now. Just like on the other end, there's a lot of people aware of that. Like, we want to be conservative, but we don't necessarily want to be like Trump.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna find a happy.
The problem is
middle.
we don't have any leaders. Like,
well, not yet. I think it's coming. I think we're gonna we're gonna find a happy medium.
Yeah, I think we course correct. We're just in the most volatile version of. What are you looking at?
My robot's head's missing.
Is it this?
No, it's right here. This one.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're in a really volatile place politically, not just in this country, but like in the world. And the issue with that, more than anything, is that when you're at something that's so volatile, you've never seen... We haven't seen the internet before. So we don't know how to judge this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know how to see... Like, we can't really liken the internet to anything that we have to look back at in history, aside from, like, the Library of Alexandria. Guess what happened to it?
It burned.
It got burned the fuck down, like, a few times. Maybe that's what happens to the internet. Mm. The Library of Alexandria was the closest thing to the internet we ever had. It was a massive storage of all the information. Is that not what the internet is?
Yeah.
The internet is coming to a tipping point in terms of shit's getting wild. They might burn the bitch down. It would not surprise me if the big terror attack of the 2000s ends up being like an attack on the fucking databanks. You know what I mean? Where we just get fucking Stone Aged. And I don't think we'll get literally Stone Aged. I think we might get knocked back to like
90s.
More like the 70s.
Yeah.
Like before there was even a conversation of the internet on the way. The internet was in the 80s. Like technically is where it started. Like you've got mail and shit. Like you could send emails still. But
I don't think... I mean, maybe.
I think the internet is going to become bracketed very harshly, where you have like localized versions of it. Like basically what Facebook Marketplace is, or Facebook is, where you have like, the fucking Lads of Lancaster, or whatever the fuck. You have like these groups. Yeah. I think there's going to end up being localized internets that you can only access from a certain area. Kind of the way that like China has its own Google, or like how we have Google. Like there's different Googles all over the world because of countries. I think there's going to be localized, like geographical versions of internet over the course of time that you can access to talk about certain things, and then like it
like
will
chat rooms, but bigger.
Yes, but bigger.
Yeah.
I have to use the bathroom so bad.
Okay.
There's only two of us.
Yeah, go ahead, use it. I'll talk about something.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll throw out stuff that we got coming up.
Okay.
Oh, hey, can I talk about that thing that you've been doing? You've been working on?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're gonna save that for a little bit and talk
We're
about
saving.
that off
We're
Sorry,
saving.
podcast.
No, sorry, podcast. We're saving that. We're holding on to that. We're playing that one close to the chest. In the meantime, what I've been cooking up is we're going to be having a Patreon soon, where we're going to be recording our voiceovers for movies, kind of like a commentary track where you can watch along the movie with us and listen to what we have to say about various things. If you guys have any ideas for what movie or show you guys want us to start, probably movie first. If you guys have any idea for what movie you guys want us to start with first, you can reach out to us, let us know, through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not Google+. Discord. We're very active on the Discord again. It's gonna be fun. I think that we're gonna revolutionize the commentary world, really, and it's gonna be unlike anything that anyone has ever seen ever, or ever done ever. It's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be like the first time you stepped outside and you touched some grass and you felt the ground beneath your feet. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be just incredible and awestruck. Some upcoming guests that we've got Alejandro coming up, and then we've also got, I'm gonna try to get to Marissa on again, and then we're gonna also see about having my friend Brandon on from Player One Up. I don't know how soon we're gonna get him, but Alejandro's gonna be on literally within the next recording, and then hopefully we're gonna have some other shows up that that I've been having issues with in terms of uploading to our YouTube because of the way that the audio system works. And I've learned my lesson: don't pause during a recording, and I won't have any issues. So, and now Charlie's out of the bathroom. And
that was the fastest shit I've ever taken.
Did you? Was that shit?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Whew-wee.
How did you feel?
I feel terrible.
Oh,
I usually sit and enjoy myself. I felt rushed. I'm excited about being more active on Discord with not just the podcast, but these other things.
Yes,
once we do try and establish a Patreon.
Don't talk about that. Charlie doesn't want us to talk about that. Oh, the Patreon. Sorry.
I'm Charlie.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the thing that you don't want them to.
That thing also... The thing that we're alluding
it's
to...
It's a big Christmas present for you guys.
That will probably happen in August or
September. It's the best Christmas present. It comes
It's
in
a big
August.
fall present.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's very Eastery.
Yeah, it'll... there's a really cool thing that we're going to get to do, not just for the podcast, but for other facets of me and Creighton's life in the future. Mm-hmm. And we will share it eventually. At the moment, we're keeping it under wraps just until things are a little more official.
Playing it close to the chest.
Playing it close to the chest. But it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Anybody listening...
It will revolutionize.
There's a good chance people who hear this will only hear it because of this thing that ends up happening in the first place, because more people will then be listening to us.
It will revolutionize.
Yep.
You
know what? Fuck it. We'll say it. Elon Musk is going to be on the show. Yeah. Imagine.
Dude, this would be a crazy time to have him on.
Anytime would be a crazy time to have him on.
I know.
Or Joe Rogan.
Yeah. The memes, man. The memes for him and Trump, their breakup
have been crazy.
They're fake or not, real, whatever. You know, the memes are incredible, which means we're living in an incredible time in history.
A simulation is what it feels like.
Probably.
It feels way too crazy to be real.
Yeah.
Do you ever think...
And the LA riots are back.
That's cool. They hit us every 25 or 30 years.
Yeah.
They're always here. So that's
just as soon as you start to not think about them, they're back.
Yep.
Different this time.
Very different this time. Definitely different people participating.
What do you mean by that, Charlie?
Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Do you ever think about yourself going on a big show? Have you ever thought of?
Time.
Do you actually?
I think about it like that. I think about.
Do you think of it
big
as
show
you
and talking about what we've done and ourselves, and then I think about the other side of it, like hosting a big show and having different people.
Yeah, I've thought so many times about
and I've thought about being on the camera, and I've thought about being on the stage. I've thought about being the stage.
Yeah,
I've thought about being the chair.
Right.
Yeah. specifically for different like female.
Like Clint Eastwood when at that Republican National Convention where he's yelling at the chair.
Yeah. I just mean for specific female people that would come on and sit in that chair. You know?
Right.
Yeah, older female people.
Okay.
You know? Not young women, not like
Right.
under 18 women, but
Right.
like, you know. Just want to clarify.
It's a good thing you're not famous. You'd be the most like problematic bachelor.
Well,
in Hollywood.
sometimes I'm not a bachelor anyway, but like sometimes
I said in Hollywood.
I think about like the wildest shit to say and to keep people guessing. So,
Yeah.
and then I do. And, you know, here we are.
Right.
But it's fun. We've made a whole sort of career out of it.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Totally.
What else is going to happen?
It would be really cool. It would be really cool if it got in a day where this gets big enough to like try and actually discuss whatever this show is. Because like, you know, certain people will go on like Joe
I was
Rogan.
Googling us today. Just figure out what Google AI thinks about us.
Really?
Yeah.
What did Google AI say?
Google AI was like, I don't really have an opinion, but like, this is what I think. I think that you should like judge a podcast by its content and by, you know.
So it basically said go watch it.
Yeah, and also it said, you know, it pretty much put in there like the latest thing that I put up, which was, you know, the Carly episode at this point in recording. As of recording, the last episode upload was the Carly episode, so. Or the Charlie episode, whatever that we want to call it.
Yeah, when I Google it, there's literally nothing.
The AI?
There's no... Okay, so... one,
Did you
two,
put Shirts Off Podcast with Charlie and Creighton?
I said, what is the Shirts Off Podcast? So, first you have Shirt Off Your Back Podcast. Hello,
Yeah.
I've made 4 new t-shirts with references sure to confuse anyone. Reddit comment. That's the second thing. Jason Kelsey Takes Shirts Off Podcast. That's a TikTok. And then YouTube has many links in a row. One is a Markiplier video. One is Shirts Off Episode 2, The Real Monsters Under Your Blank, The Sporting Tribune. That's a different channel.
Yeah.
Then there's a TikTok of Bert Kreischer, another YouTube video of Bert Kreischer, and then the Are You Garbage comedy podcast. And then
it's us?
Then that's 8, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 9th thing is us, and it's 5. It's a video with 5 views from 2 years ago. Season 2, episode 56.
Hell yeah.
And it's just you and me in it.
We're not number 10.
And I'm wearing... we're in the top 10. And then the next thing is another Bert Kreischer.
You know, for as much as we used to talk about Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura and those guys, it's really incredible that Shirts Off is not named off of that because of Bert Kreischer going shirtless.
Yeah.
Like, you would think, knowing us, that like, oh, you named it because of Bert Kreischer.
The thing
But,
I
like,
love
no.
about the show is it is just perfect enough that if we even get a little, tiny bit famous... Like,
We're
I don't mean...
canceled right away.
No. I mean, if we even get a tiny bit of, like, entertainment value... Like, if we have a few clips that go semi-viral and we're called the Shirts Off Podcast,
Yeah.
it's the kind of show that Bert will be like, boys... You want to come on the podcast? And like, I'll be fucking dude. I'll feel like this podcast could never do more than 5,000 views an episode for history and make us like $500 a month. We could make no money and barely even consider ourselves successful if we ever got invited to the Burtcast.
We made it.
That's me feeling like we made it. Forget about winning a WSOP championship. Forget about my Principal's Choice Award. Forget about, whatever kids I fucking end up having in the future. Making it onto the Burtcast and talking to Bert like in a podcast environment with you is far and away the success story of my life. That makes me so happy to get into that. Even just to dip my toe in the water of that world will make me so happy.
I can't wait for it to get to the point where like I really don't remember how this started. And then I
already have no idea.
And
how
then
we
I
started.
start making up stuff like the Joker. Like I tell things different each time.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to know how we got this podcast?
You want to know? You want to know how we have so many followers? My friend
Was a card player.
Was a liar and a a fiend. He kept dating the same women. He would never talk to me, and we pushed him away. we every time we just tell a true story, but like from a different part in the timeline.
Oh man, I would
So
love
funny.
to it eventually get to a place where like I'm like, what's his name? God, Norm Macdonald, where he's just fucking with people. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
deeply
Dude.
closeted homosexual.
So you're gay? No,
Oh.
I'm deeply closeted. That means I'm not telling you that I'm gay. But isn't telling us that admitting that you're gay? No, Larry. What? I'm deeply closeted. It's one of the greatest.
So you're
gags.
deeply closeted. He goes, exactly.
Have you ever heard of Gallagher? The guy who smashed watermelons with a hammer.
Oh,
the comedian.
yeah, he died.
He did die.
recently, right?
A few years ago,
Like,
yeah.
Now it's like 10 years ago.
Probably
but
something,
I say
yeah.
recently, like
Like a
just
minute
remember
ago,
it.
yeah. He died. He do you know who no
Was that funny? Was that really?
Is
I
it-
never
is
watched
it-
any of his
Is
shows.
it Jim Jeffries? Fuck, I'm gonna mess it up. It's either Jim Jeffries. You know what? I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm
It's
just gonna
Jimmy
look
Jones,
at. It's
actually.
not Jimmy. There's a famous comedian, like a famous touring comedian, like world
Louis
touring.
CK.
No, a British dude.
Oh, Tom Sierra.
No, Tom's American. You idiot.
Actually, it's
Jimmy
part-time.
Carr, not Jim Jeffries. Jimmy Carr is a famous British comedian, and he knew Gallagher. And one time he was at like a comedy fest in Canada or something. You know who Ari Shafir is?
Yeah.
So Ari was walking around. All these guys know each other. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
At whatever point in their career. You know, Jimmy Carr is this like massively travels the world, does stadiums. But he's known Ari for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so they go to this, he goes to a comedy club 20 years ago, and Ari is like up on stage. And it was going to be told about whoever was on stage. It just happened to be Ari. Gallagher walks up to Jimmy Carr and goes, "He's real funny, huh?" And Jimmy's like, yeah, Ari's great. He's hilarious. And he's like, "He's got cancer." Gallagher tells Jimmy Carr that. And Jimmy Carr's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, he's got like, they said he's got like two years to live." And so a couple of years goes by, and he would see Ari and walk up and be like, "Hey, how's it going, bud? Are you doing okay?" And Ari would be like, "Yeah, of course, I'm doing great. Well, how about you?" And then for years, he had no idea what was going on. And so Gallagher dies. Gallagher just dies, and like Ari is still going. Ari's killing it. And like finally he goes like, he talks, finally it gets brought up, and he's like, "Gallagher told me that knowing he'd never lived to see the like, or he would not only would maybe he wouldn't be alive, but he definitely wasn't going to be there when I figured it out." He told that joke as like a landmine joke. Like, this is gonna be a joke to you one day. Like, that is fucking amazing. That's one of those jokes where I'm like, I hope that happens to us. That's literally what has happened to
That's
us.
some shit I would do.
That's some shit you would do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's me
I don't
with
even
the
know
gay
what
thing.
triggered me to say that. I had somewhere to put that and like to compare that, and I forgot what it was
That's
already.
me with the gay thing. I've just been spreading
Oh my
the
God.
whole truth. That
It,
you're
look,
gay.
that's already landmined went off like 11 times. I've been hit on by half the gay people of Lancaster.
It's the best. It's the joke
My dad
that
has
people-
sat me down multiple times to go, "Son, you know I still love you if you're gay, right?" Like it worked. The campaign can end. Like, let me live my life. Let me find a woman. Jesus.
It's the joke that keeps giving because, like, you know,
It's the
when-
joke that keeps repelling women away from me.
Just when I think is running out of gas, something incredible happens where like some new person comes into our life and they're like, "Oh, you're the gay couple that does the podcast," and like right away, right as soon as I think I'm out, I'm right back in.
I hate you. It's one of those things that just...
God, I can't wait to tell my kids.
That was amazing. Did you see that? Look
Yeah,
how it
no,
landed.
that was
Never
incredible.
again could I do that. That was
Yeah.
incredible. I was doing it to get Ted to
I
chase
can't
it.
wait to tell my kids that you're gay. Like, you're gay.
I'm sure,
You're
yeah.
gay, Uncle Charlie.
Is there actually a thing you can't wait to do with your kids? Like, is there a thing you look at the future like, I
I've been
can't wait
thinking
to
about
do
a
that
lot
with my
lately.
kids?
Yeah, I really want to teach my kids how to swim.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think it's
Like, do
really
you mean
funny.
as a baby or when they're like
I
5 or
don't know.
6?
As soon as the fucker,
'Cause that's kind of, you know,
as soon
that's
as
like
I can
a-
put the fucker in the water. like,
Yeah,
you know.
well, that's real. Like,
Yeah, I
babies
know.
learn how to.
No,
like,
I know. They
babies
hold their breath.
can.
They're like
they
a
can learn
submarine.
how to swim immediately.
Yeah.
Like, they know how. Like, it's
Yeah.
almost.
Well, they're in the womb. You know, they got
Well,
to
it's
hold
like,
their breath for a
but
long
there's like
time.
an unethical idea that like that's not okay to like just drop your baby in a pool and hope it knows what to do.
Oh,
Like,
really?
People complain
don't
about
like
that. People hate it. because the way they do it, you're just literally there are ladies who like will stand over a pool and just throw their
But it's the
like
same
month-old baby,
Yeah.
like just dump it in a pool.
It's the same as baptizing. Have you ever seen like a
That's
bishop
for-
baptize a baby?
but it's for
Like
a
they
moment.
fucking just
Yeah, they
you know?
dip them in and out. But I'm saying this is you drop your baby in and you see if they survive.
and they do it so fast. I'm like, how the fuck do you know you're not going to hit their head like on the side or something? Like you
Yeah.
gotta have like you know
They're good at it, man.
It's like one
they've dipped a
swift
lot
move.
of.
It's
It's
like
like
a
a French
fluid
dip,
movement,
man. These
yeah.
guys just know how to fucking dip that sandwich. They've dipped a lot of babies in water.
There's this really old vine that has like the Big Lebowski thing like over it where they're like dunking him in the toilet like, where's the money, Lebowski? But it's like a bishop with a baby.
Yeah.
And it just keeps like going back and forth with him dunking the baby. It's like,
Yeah.
where's the money?
There's a really good girlfriend reviews when they did The Last of Us. They did 2 videos. They did the first video was based on
What are you doing?
nothing, man. Stop asking questions. The first video was on the like what the game was about, because they generally do like comedy videos, but the game was viewed so divisively rather when it launched that they were like, we need to do a video about what this game is and then we'll make fun of it.
Oh, Last of Us?
The Last of Us Part
Oh,
2.
yeah.
And when it happened, that the first video was their most liked but also most disliked video on their channel. Like it got a lot of attention. And everyone who hated it were basically saying like, Neil Druckmann paid you guys to say all that shit. And they use that same video where it's just them holding Neil, who is the Big Lebowski, like, where's our money, shithead? And Neil's like, I don't know, let me go check. And they dump him in again.
It's like, let me take another look. I think that's what he
Yeah,
says.
I don't know. Let me take another look.
That's such a good scene.
It's such a
That's
good
a good movie. But
That movie's one of those movies that should have won a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah.
It was a very good movie, very
very
not
Pulp
for
Fiction
everybody.
esque.
Pulp Fiction. I would say it's more. I'd say it's more true romance than Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction has taken place all over the place with lots of different stories.
Yeah.
Big Lebowski does basically just tell one story.
Yeah.
Like it is effectively. It's just you're basically with the same people the whole plot of the movie.
By the way, fucking what's his name? He's in Righteous Gemstones.
John Goodman.
Yes, incredible actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew he's incredible anyway, but it's like he's good in that way. Like he's always gonna find a way to surprise you. Like even in that movie, like that because that movie's like what 98, 99?
Lebowski? Yeah, it's the 90s. I want to say.
Great. Even back then, like just really great actor.
Yeah.
And then
he's always been a really great actor.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
No, but I've seen
For
his
Brother-
clips from it.
That movie is crazy.
Yeah.
He's amazing in that movie. And that
Did he
movie's
win
just
any
crazy.
awards for that?
No.
He
He's
hasn't won any awards.
I don't think he's been nominated for anything, and it's wild.
That's an insult to acting.
Well, it's because he doesn't give a fuck. He's not going to complain about not getting nominated because he's an actor.
And he's probably not campaigning either.
He doesn't
don't you have
care.
to campaign for some
People
of these?
do. Generally. Sometimes you have to, but a lot of the time, like the movie has to.
The only
And
reason
thing
I
is-
know that is because of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, well, like Righteous Gemstones is one of those shows. Like they probably could campaign him for it if they wanted. I don't think they give
Anybody
a fuck
on
about
that
the Emmys.
show.
It
Anybody
costs
on
a
that
lot of
show
money.
they could
The
campaign.
thing is, it costs a lot of money
Yeah.
to campaign,
Yeah.
and like a lot of the time, these shows, especially one like Righteous Gemstones, if Danny McBride's making it, that motherfucker doesn't care about the Emmys.
No.
He doesn't care, and that's the best way to do it because like you get a loyal following. Look, I'm a sucker for the Emmys
And
and
a
the
dude
Oscars.
who just makes quality shit because he wants to,
Yeah.
not because of the recognition.
There are people that say that the Emmys and the Oscars are totally corrupted, and I agree with them.
Yeah.
I think that too.
But
here's the
they're
thing.
still right sometimes.
It's still a benchmark for quality.
Yeah.
There's still like a certain type of film that is going like you know how you know that because Vin Diesel tried to get Fast 10 to be nominated for Best Picture.
I didn't know Wizards of Waverly Place won an Emmy.
Yeah, a lot of shows. Emmys is very easy to nominate.
Right,
your
right.
show.
But I didn't realize that was technically an award-winning show. I was like,
Yeah,
whenever he was talking about that on the
the
retrospective.
yellow line in football, the first down marker has like 20 Emmys.
Wait, what?
For like a live graphic. The
No,
live
it
graphic
does not.
Emmy. Yes, it
Really?
does. It has a bunch of Emmys. It's one Emmy.
we gave a line graphic
bu-
an Emmy.
For 2 decades, for years of time. It didn't.
crazy.
It hasn't won every year it's existed, but it's won a lot of years because
That's-
there's always live graphic.
What's the
Emmy.
competition?
I don't know, Creighton. I just know it's won a lot of Emmys. Stuff you would never think.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones has won a lot of Emmys. One you'll never know is that it won 6 out of like 8 years for best snow.
Really?
That's an Emmy. Yeah, there's crazy
Damn.
Emmys, dude. There's crazy Emmys. There's the Emmys that you see on TV are one night. The Emmys that take place are 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It takes 3 weeks to do the Emmys.
Did I tell you about the
It's
craziest...
probably starting now. We won't see it for 2 months.
Did I tell you about the craziest shit? Not the craziest. The craziest thing I saw on the Lancaster Facebook page this week.
What?
So, we had a Juneteenth celebration uptown this past weekend.
This weekend? It's not even Juneteenth yet.
This past weekend we did. Yeah, I don't know why they did it the
I
weekend
was gonna
before.
say, isn't it
instead
the
of weekend
19th?
of.
Isn't the 19th Juneteenth?
It's this Thursday. What's this Thursday? Because today's the 16th.
Yeah, the 19th.
So it's the 19th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did it the weekend before, not the weekend of. That's not my department. Let me tell you this story.
Okay.
So they had a Juneteenth celebration uptown.
Of course.
Somebody posted in there, "What's going on uptown and what are the times?" You know.
God.
The first comment, the first one at the very top, is like Juneteenth, and then the one right below that, fake holiday.
That's toxic.
By exactly who you would think it would be by.
Okay.
And the next comment underneath that is the gif from the movie Dodgeball, where the guy's like, "It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays
It's a bold
off."
strategy, guys. Let's see if it pays off for him. There's a
That's what I
there's a
woke up
lesbian-
to Saturday morning.
There's a lesbian that I watch on Twitch.
Yeah.
And another,
Hot.
she is
Sorry.
quite beautiful. There's another girl. I don't know if she's a lesbian or not,
Yeah.
but she comes in the chat and she's like, I almost said her name. She says, "Hi, hey, how are you?" Like that, like 3
Yeah.
times to the streamer who's a lesbian. And I went, the old Triple H gambit. It's a bold strategy, Con. Let's see if it works out for her. And like that just fucking like wildfire. Everyone in chat started laughing. Look, scroll through that and tell me you don't want it.
I do. Oh my God!
It's a-
$14,000.
It's a dump truck and
but
a
it's a
scissor
mini
lift,
truck.
and it's a mini. Is that not the coolest
It's
vehicle ever?
cool. Not $14,000.
That's pretty cheap for something that's a utility like that.
It's straight drive.
14's nothing. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's like way better than a new vehicle. That's probably a third
true.
or a fourth of what that thing was.
Have you
new.
seen so I don't know so what's taken off here in America lately, especially in our area of the country, is like the mini trucks.
the K trucks?
Yeah, the K trucks, which
Well,
you know
definitely not as much in this part of the country as other parts. Of the
Well, yeah, but I mean, it has picked up here a lot. Like all my like country friends that have like a lot of land that like really use that on.
Yeah.
That's all they get now. Instead
Yeah.
of like paying like $10,000 for like a
shitty-
Gator,
Yeah.
they go and spend like $4 or $5 grand on a K truck.
Well, they're
but
more expensive, but yeah.
well,
They're
they didn't
generally
used to
like
be.
that.
They're picking up because they're going up in price because like
No,
because
they've
of
been
that.
expensive. They have not been the cheap.
Really?
Yes.
Are
Michael
you sure?
also thought that they were the cheap. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Mike and Chris have been trying to get one, or have been wanting to get one for years, and they've
Yeah.
never been able to justify it because
So-
it's been too expensive to do it.
So the stats on that are it has the same apparently bed dimensions as like a 2025 Chevy Silverado,
Okay.
which is insane because and like
They're
it-
just tiny little vehicles.
it's a tiny vehicle, but you
Yeah.
get the same bed size, which is
Yeah.
insane to me because we've gotten to a point in our society where like a truck is not a truck really anymore. It's like
Yeah.
a car. It's it's multiple things. It's still a truck. I'm not one of those guys.
There are trucks that are
Yeah.
still trucks.
I'm not like a truck purist that are like trucks aren't real anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like it's crazy that we've gotten to a point in our society where trucks are now like these they're a family car. They're like a thing to go to Home Depot. They're a thing to take the trash off with. They're like my vehicle just that will never even see anything in the bed besides like a bag maybe from the grocery store and me just riding back and forth to work. It's crazy because in our lifetime, like I don't know if this is the same for you, but like I grew up in a time where like my dad's truck, like in my truck and like, my grandfather's truck, all they used it for was literally like truck stuff. I mean, we would use it to get to and from,
Yeah.
but we also used it for like,
It was
doing
the utility
chores.
of having that kind of vehicle was a very big part of why you had it in the first place.
and it like,
Now it's like you get a truck because you want a truck.
and it's a status symbol.
Yeah, it's like
It's
ooh, I got a
weird.
truck. It's better than a car.
Because like
Yeah.
back in the day, it's like people be poor as fuck, but they would have like a K5 K1500,
Yeah.
and be able to like ride
Or like
around.
a fucking 4x4 Toyota.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a little
Just
tiny something that could get him around and move a couch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they
and it's
needed
crazy
it for.
that's turned into like a status symbol because like I would have never thought growing up that's like, oh, that's that's money right there.
Well, that's a sign of the times. It's like that being a status symbol is a sign of like how shitty our economy has become and how far like it's hard to stretch the dollar anymore. It used to be easy for a family to have 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
and a house. Now it's hard enough just to have a vehicle, let alone have
Well,
a house.
and the reused market or used car market has really, I think, taken off in the last couple of years, as opposed to where it was before.
Yeah.
I mean, just in my time being like buying and selling cars, which is like very limited with like the last 6 years.
And somehow you've owned 11 vehicles.
In the last 6 years, it's changed so much.
Yeah.
For many different factors. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just walking around. I just gotta move. I'm
okay.
stir crazy.
No, it's good.
I stayed in the house all day yesterday.
Why?
Counting video games.
Oh, damn.
We were doing inventory yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah,
So Dead Space 11.
Dead Space 11. No, I really want to have that person on that we went and saw Saturday.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
I think that would be very fun.
Yes.
This is very fun. I would consider that dinner a pre-interview.
Yeah.
Like to now know that, a podcast would totally work and we should do the podcast.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a pretty good filter. And we'll never answer the question of if Aleem is ever coming back.
I think he's technically dead somewhere. And I think I need to report him missing.
He'll come
After
back.
this podcast, I'm probably going to call him and just roast him over the phone and tell him that we're on like season 4 already. And that we miss him
season
so
4
much.
isn't too far away. I mean, I think
Well, that depends on how we. Are you thinking when we start this
When we
next
go back
thing that
to-
we're alluding to
Yeah,
the
I
people?
think
That might be
when-
season 4.
I think when we get visuals back on us, that's when season 4 begins.
I think that that's really good because it brackets season 3 as the video,
The audio
season.
Yes, the legendary audio season of the Shirts Off podcast.
And once we get it to not only that, where it's when we do this thing that we're talking about doing that we're not talking about on this episode, hopefully whether we learn it or someone else who is coming to that thing that we're talking about often, someone will help us understand how to put this on Spotify, how to put it on all the places you can get podcasts.
Right.
Because that's the thing. A lot of the places you can listen to a podcast still have a video version somewhere like YouTube, but there is just an audio only version on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app or blah 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 blah. Which is where we probably should put it everywhere. To widen the scope of that,
Have you seen that picture of the LA riots where the girls standing on the guy's shoulders and doing like LA with their fingers? That picture with the riot people behind her.
I don't know. I'm sure I
With their
probably did.
SWAT behind her or whatever it is.
Okay, I don't know. I might have. Why?
Anyways, I think for the thumbnail, this would put our faces over those people.
We shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
That's a pretty bad idea.
That'd be cool.
That's a thing that will only get us in trouble, I think.
I'm trying to get those sweet, sweet views. Those sweet views that Daddy loves.
Right. Totally.
Whether it's hate or love, it's all news is good news. Wait, is that right? How it goes? Or?
No, it's all press is good.
All press is good press.
I think we probably should stray away from trying to make people mad at us.
I'll probably just take a picture of Ted and Grim and put our faces on them.
That's probably a better idea. We could just take a selfie of us. Yes, we should.
It's
do
way
that.
funnier for me to throw our faces on random things.
Totally. Well, you know what you should do is we should take a selfie and then you put Grim and Ted's faces over ours.
Oh, invert it.
Invert
it. That's fun.
Or you should plug in that picture with the picture of Grim and a picture of Ted and feed that to ChatGPT and say, I want these cats on our bodies and make it look good. What?
It's fucking Quantumania, but they made the font really small. And
I see it, yeah.
Ant-Man.
Don't talk about that. No one can see that.
No, nobody can see it, but it's just really funny.
Creighton's talking about the default screen for his Roku TV.
Yeah. It's so nice. It's very mood setting. It's like a fireplace, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But it still keeps you warm on the outside. It keeps you warm.
It doesn't
inside.
keep you warm on the inside.
Yeah, it's like a together suitcase.
Anyway.
All right, that's pretty good, right? Shirts Off, season 3, episode 20.
Oh, we're wrapping this one up?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, that's cool.
I'm out of things to talk about for right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of want to hang out and just,
Just hang out, the two of us?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. I'm cool with that.
All right,
Don't
goodbye.
say it like that. That sounds like we're about to go do butt stuff or something.
Wow, I really want to hang out.
Hey, I can't wait to hang with you later.
Yeah, hanging brain.
I let my nuts hang. Have you ever heard that song? The prop song is so good.
There's another guy, I can't remember. I think it's from Insane
I let my
Clown
nuts
Posse.
hang right on, brother.
I think it's from Insane Clown Posse where he's like, they call me Stretch Nuts.
I have a buddy who in Discord you can set an entrance sound, like a sound bite that will always play. And his was he enters this like I'll let my nuts hang every time. It's so good.
Nut jokes are the best.
Nut
they never
jokes
go
are
away.
great. Good. I think we did a good job of making them think we're not going to do butt stuff by writing it off with lyrics.
So we are going to do butt stuff.
Shh.
Okay.
Now they think that we're going to do that, and not sure. Of course, that's what we're going to do. But now they think it, and we were supposed to get them off of thinking about it. So what we'll talk about now instead is the French Revolution.
Yes.
And how? Oh, wow, never mind. I almost just said something I can't say to you yet because of stuff in the pop culture in the podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. We love you guys.
25 episodes. No, Ali's dead. He's dead.